Unveiling Strong Delusion, Video 1, The City that is in the midst of the river. And for this cause God shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians 2:11-12. Today, almost everyone but the ruling classes believe the strong delusion. Even those who have seen through portions of the veil still believe most of the delusion. This series of videos will lift the veil for those who wish to see. The first video will compare 3 verses in the book of Joshua about the city in the midst of the river to geographical reality. It will create a major geographical and temporal problem for those who believe in the strong delusion. It will make the Old Testament come alive for those willing to remove the veil. Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon and ruled from Aroer, which is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and from the middle of the river, and from half Gilead, even unto the river Jabbok, which is the border of the children of Ammon. Joshua 12:2. From Aroer, that is upon the bank of the river Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, and all the plain of Medeba unto Dibon. Joshua 13:9. And their coast was from Aroer, that is on the bank of the river Arnon, and the city that is in the midst of the river, and all the plain by Medeba. Joshua 13:16. Today, scholars call the river Arnon the Wadi Mujib in the modern country of Jordan, to the east of the modern country called Israel. The red line on this map shows the approximate location of the wadi. A photo of the wadi, no sign of a city in its midst. The wadi inside the wadi, no room for a city. No room for a city. No room for a city. The Arno River in Italy has the same name as the Arnon River in the Bible, except for the final letter N. It has a famous city in its midst called the Ponte Vecchio, or the Old Bridge. Millions of tourists visit this old bridge, or the city in the midst of the river, every year. Arnon in Hebrew means a roaring stream. Strong's Hebrew Concordance 769. Strong's Hebrew Concordance translates Hebrew words from the Bible into English. Viewers can access this for free online. Does this look like a roaring stream? Does this look like a roaring stream? How about this? The Arno River ripping apart the city in its midst. The Arno River roaring down its course in Florence. The aftermath of the roaring stream. The roaring stream in the Arno. The bridge first appears in a document of 996. After being destroyed by a flood in 1117, it was reconstructed in stone, but swept away again in 1333, save 2 of its central piers, as noted by Giovanni Villani in his Nuova Cronica. It was rebuilt in 1345. Moving the Arnon from Jordan to Italy creates not just a geographical problem, but a temporal one of over 2,000 years. Scholars tell us the Exodus and the book of Joshua occurred around 1200 to 1500 BC. A difference of more than 2,000 years exists between those dates and 996 AD, when people built the real city in the midst of the river. When will the delusion fade? When the sun rises in the west and sets in the east, then you shall return to me, my sun and stars. Daenerys Targaryen, Game of Thrones, Season 1, Episode 10. Does the sun rise in the east, or does the sun rise in the west? Today, all people, educated and unwashed, accept this orientation. North on the top, south on the bottom, west on the left, east on the right, Israel and Egypt on the bottom right. The sun rises in the east. Tabla Rogeriana by Muhammad al-Idrisi. 1,000 years ago, all people, educated and unwashed, believed the sun rose in the west. All people accepted this map by Muhammad Ali Idrisi as the most prominent and the best map available. Notice that Italy kicks Sicily upside down. This map has the south on the top. Notice also that it has many more islands in the Mediterranean and in the Atlantic off the coast of France and Spain than we have today. It has a large island off the boot of Italy. Sailors use this map. I think they would have noticed if that island didn't exist off the boot of Italy. 1,000 years ago, poets and historians wrote their tales from the orientation of the Tabula Rogeriana. When the Bible or Ovid or Herodotus speak of the East, they mean today's West. The Norman king Roger II of the House of Hauteville or Altavilla or High City became king of Sicily in 1130. He lived from 1095 to 1154. Roger II created the Kingdom of Sicily, which included much of southern Italy. It lasted from his time to 1816. The Hauteville family plays a huge role in the history of the world. Kingdom of Sicily. The Kingdom of Sicily is shown in green on this map. A very large kingdom covering basically half of modern Italy. The Promised Land, Europe. Fra Mauro map of 1450. About 3 centuries after the Tabula Rogeriana, Fra Mauro made this map with the same reversed north-south orientation. A larger version. You can see Italy still upside down, kicking Sicily in a rovesciata. Torah in the 12th and 13th centuries. The videos will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the entire Torah, from Abraham to Deuteronomy through the book of Joshua, occurred in the 12th and 13th centuries. Not a single event in the Torah or the rest of the Bible occurred in the modern countries of Israel, Jordan, or Egypt. Instead, the events in the Torah and the rest of the Bible occurred in Europe and the Americas. Future videos. The videos will first address geography, then move to actual dates and people. The next video will show the Po River in Italy once had a name with the same meaning as the Jordan, which in Hebrew means the descender. The third video will identify the Amorites. The fourth video will identify the Amalek or Amalekites. Next, the series will move back in time to Genesis 11 and Ur of the Chaldees. Videos will identify the historical Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob living in the 12th and 13th centuries and playing major roles in the development of modern European thought. A video will show that Abraham played a foundational role in an important Catholic religious order. The video will show where in Spain Abraham buried Sarah and the place where the tomb exists to this day, protected by the Catholic Church. A video will show that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had central roles in the development of the Kabbalah. A video will show where Abraham pitched his tent with Hai to the east and Bethel to the west. A video will identify the rebellion narratives in the Book of Numbers with well-known events in 13th century French history. A video will identify Barcelona as the real Jerusalem. This series will have at least 6 videos on Milcah, the mother of Rebecca, a person scholars have ignored. The videos on Milcah will link the Torah to Egyptian and Greek myths and history. The videos on Milcah will show the real location of Egypt and much more. The videos will explain the multiple meanings of Milcah's name beyond the commonly accepted meaning. All this merely in Genesis. After Genesis, the videos will cover much of the Old Testament. A future video will identify King David as an important medieval king. A future video will identify Queen Jezebel as an important medieval queen and as a Catholic saint. A video will explain the real meaning of the name Joshua. The same video will identify Joshua as a famous Roman written about by Plutarch. Identifying Joshua as a famous Roman will lead to identifying Moses as an even more famous Roman. about whom history knows less than about the Roman Joshua. A video will link Moses to French royalty. Thank you for watching. Permission to copy and translate. The author permits any human being to copy and rebroadcast this video in whole or in part. The author permits any human being to translate this video into any language.